All right, number 9. The site has a building height restriction by zoning code. The client wants to have a lot of storage and back of house areas that could potentially be in basements. The client suggests that the program should be focused on a building that has many floors of basements in order to make a relatively large building without going above the height limit, without dealing with the zoning code height limit. As a designer, what would be one of the first concerns you would want to research given that? So you suddenly start thinking about, all right, we're going to go onto the site. They're trying to keep the building's overall height down, so they want to push a bunch of the floors down into the ground. So maybe I have 2 floors of basements or 3 floors of basements. So I'm going down, 16 feet, 20 feet, 25 feet, something like that, right? That's getting deep into the ground. One of the first things I would want to know is, where is the water table? So the water table is going to be that idea, and it's sort of a kind of conceptual and real thing. When I have soil, the soil is saturated at some point. So if I dig down and dig a hole, and this has all happened, everybody's done this, maybe at a beach or something, you dig a hole at the beach, and at a certain point, the water fills up a part of that hole, and it fills up to a certain line. If you went a few feet away and you dug another hole, the water would fill up to that same line, because that's the local water table. It's the line below grade at which the water the soil is saturated, and when given an opportunity will become a puddle, become actual water. The reason this is important is if you start to imagine, I've got my site here, and I'm putting this building on top of it, but now I'm also putting floor after floor after floor down here. But let's say my water table is there at, let's say, 15 feet below grade. Well, that means I have to go way out of my way to make sure that the relationships here are not going to start allowing the saturated soils from just seeping water into my basements. So I would get tons and tons of water continuously there unless I did a lot of very extensive efforts to make sure that that wasn't the case. So when you see a situation like this, it's clearly sort of aiming you towards what's the problem with going deep into the soil, and what are the potential problems? Well, it's expensive to dig out the soils. There's a lot of water, the water table issues. I would have to de-water the site while we're doing the building. I'd have to use a more expensive, like maybe a slurry wall or something like that, system for building, which is going to be a more expensive system. It's going to be harder to do the construction, and I'm going to have long-term seepage problems over time, because I'm going to be the toes of my building are going to be in the damp, and so there's going to be wicking water all the time trying to get through those wall systems. So a situation like this, absolutely going to be the water table. And that's a sort of convoluted question, but I was trying to get to that concept, and so hopefully that was not too crazy for people.